friends. I'm joining you today from our dear friend's house in Panajachel, Guatemala, and we're going to practice the Makko series together. The Makko series is a Japanese form of self-regulating the meridian systems within the body. With each of these postures, there's a targeted organ, element, and meridian pathway. So the first Makko is for the lungs and large intestine. Lungs, large intestine space, the meridian pathway goes from chest to thumb for lung, large intestine from index finger up to opposite nostril. To do the Makko for lung, large intestine, we take the fingers in L and opposite L, and on an inhalation, lift the arms up and overhead. Exhale, bend to the knees, interlace the hands if you're able, and bow forward. Take it 6 times. Inhale to exhale. Inhale, creating space for new life to come in. And exhale, releasing what no longer serves. 3 more. Inhale up, honoring the element of metal, and exhale down to the heart. The second Makko is for the stomach and the spleen. Stomach meridian starts underneath the eyes, it descends down the throat, down through the torso, over the center of the thigh, off to the sides of the shin, and all the way down to second toe. Spleen picks up in big toe and comes up the inner shin, inner quad, up through the torso, and then coming to end underneath the armpits to the side of the body. So to work Makko for stomach and spleen, you can either choose full saddle, tucking both legs back, or half saddle, one leg coming back. The key action of the pose is to tug through the thigh. You can either lean back, and depending on your bone structure, you might lean back onto a cushion or lay back onto the floor, but in a way that you can breathe, relax for 6 breaths or more. If you're working with tender knees, or your bone just doesn't turn in like this and it really lifts your hip up, choose to take the thread through. Wrapping one foot behind the other, taking that as deep as knee bend as you comfortably can to tug on thigh, inner leg, and rest. Let's all move into 6 more breaths. After your 6 breaths, we'll switch sides, either taking the thread through cypress knees here, or taking half saddle or full saddle. Half saddle to the other side, or continue to ride in full saddle. The stomach spleen energy is working with the element of the earth, with all levels of nourishment. Not only what we eat and what we drink, which is a major form of qi, but also in the ways that we nourish ourselves psychologically. It's dealing with the emotion of transforming worry and cultivating trust. In our first Makko for lungs and large intestine, it was that transformation of grief into being able to see and recognize the preciousness of the ordinary aspects of life. Let's take one more breath here in the stomach and spleen Makko. And then we'll rise and release. The next Makko is for heart and small intestine. This meridian begins in the armpit. Heart begins in the armpit, comes down to the base of the pinky fingernail. Its partner organ, small intestine, comes up pinky nail, up to the side of the shoulder, side of the neck, side of the face. This is a fire element pose. We hold it. It's more energetic. So there's several ways to take this posture. You can either take a butterfly pose, hold on to the feet, push the elbows forward to hollow out the armpits, and then bring the head down. The key action really is that hollowing out of the armpit. So if butterfly position in the legs doesn't work for your bone structure, do this with feet on the floor, knees bent, hands on the knees, and pushing elbows forward so that you can hollow out armpits here. And we'll take 6 more breaths. This heart, small intestine energy is dealing with obvious heart circulating the blood throughout your body, moving the life force through the body, and small intestine's ability to discern, what is nourishing, what gets transformed into your blood and into your body tissues, and what gets passed down to large intestine for release. So the discerning, the choices that are being made for what then circulates through your body via your blood and your heart. This is a fire element pose. We'll inhale. And once you exhale, go ahead and release out. Its energy or its psychological component is that transformation of strong, unchallenged emotions or frustration into being able to see the joy of life or to appreciate the joy of life. So the next posture is for the water element, for kidneys and urinary bladder. Kidney energy starts in the ball of the foot and comes up the inner leg, through the torso, underneath the collarbone, down towards the tongue. Urinary bladder energy goes from inner eyes, eyebrows, over the head, and essentially traces either side of your spine, over your glute tissue, hamstring, calf, and down to the pinky toe. It's more complicated than that, but that's that general flow down that back superficial line of fascia. Its Makko is a forward fold. You can do this one-legged or two-legged. And hold for 5. Hold for 6 breaths. If you're tight in hamstrings or your structure makes it difficult to come forward at the pelvis structure, then go ahead and get some cushion underneath your knees so that if you bend the knees with support underneath, it'll give you a little bit more forward fold. So let's ride a few more breaths. Kidney energy is working with the water element. This is water and fluidity and emotion on all levels. The kidneys and the urinary bladder play this balance of harmonizing the water level on every level of your being, all the way down to cellular function, to saliva, to sweat, to digestive fluids. All water levels are being balanced by that harmony of detoxification at kidneys and urinary bladder controlling how much is released and how much is maintained within. The psychological function is being able to transform our fears through understanding to cultivate wisdom. On an inhalation, go ahead and rise up. Moving to the final 2 Makko. The next one is another fire element. It's pericardium and triple burner. This is the sac that surrounds the heart, as well as a triple heater system within our body. The upper heater or furnace dealing with respiration and circulation, middle burner dealing with digestion, and lower burner dealing with elimination. And the fire that controls, and moisture that controls that fire element that's balancing all those realms. So this is an unusual posture, and we'll show you some different ways to do it. How the Makko teaches it is with the feet crossed, knees up. You bring your arms across the back of the knees. Palms can be up or palms can be down. This is not in front of the knees, this is behind. And then we push into the legs, take the legs wide so it pulls the shoulder blades apart, and likely will tug along this pericardium, across this triple burner line here through the back of the arm. All right? So if this is difficult to do because of structure or breast tissue, know that you can take one arm at a time across the body. Let's come into 6 more breaths. Pericardium is physically the heart's protector. It's the heart's guard. Physically, it's working with kidneys and it's working with heart to help harmonize blood pressure and more. Let's inhale and rise, and either switch the arm that's on top across or across the legs. Some may like to switch their feet and then open it back up again or hold it across the body. Triple burner is working with those elements we talked about, creating a harmony between the furnaces, in a sense. Almost like your body is a home with 3 distinct heating and cooling realms of the house, like if you had multiple heat pumps, right? So upper burner dealing with respiration and circulation, middle burner with digestion, lower burner with elimination. And this is governing how your body controls its heat and its coolness. So if you tend to run cold, if you tend to run hot, if you're having hot flashes, this can be a meridian pathway to 10. Again, a fire element. Working with cultivating joy, passion, meaning in life. Let's release this out. And we'll come into the final Makko, which is that of liver and gallbladder. I forgot to map that last pathway. Pericardium goes from chest to middle finger, triple burner, ring finger, up again to the side of the neck and head. So the last is liver and gallbladder. The liver meridian begins in the big toes, comes up the inseam through the torso, and then comes deep into the throat, circles the lips, comes into the eyes. Gallbladder starts on the side of the eyes, zigzags to the side of the scalp and head, down through the neck, zigzags to the side of the rib cage, that lateral line of fascia, and ascends down through the side of the leg, all the way down to the 4th toe on both sides. So the Makko for liver and gallbladder is to take the legs wide and bow forward. We're looking for tug into the inner leg. If wide leg position from a seated position is challenging for you and it tilts your pelvis backward because of your unique structure, know that you might enjoy taking the frog, where you take the feet narrow, knees wide, so that you can get into the groin tissue, inner leg tissue, without having to worry about hamstrings or the tilt of your pelvis in relationship to your femur. The element here is working with wood. The organs of the liver and the gallbladder. That relationship of detoxification that liver does and hormonal balancing, as liver is a major endocrine gland, and gallbladder's role of storing liver bile, shunting it into the small intestine to help in the process of digestion. Because it's the wood element, it's dealing with growth and expansion, and helps us with vision and planning and moving forward. So come into that element of wood, of growth, of new beginnings, and just ride 3 or 4 more breaths here. And then on an inhalation, we'll begin to come back through to center. Release to a neutral place, either cross-legged or extending your legs out. And take a moment to feel these 5 postures. Harmonizing the elements of metal, of earth, of fire, of water, and of wood. We'll take deeper dives into the Makko hose again together soon. I hope you enjoyed your practice. I forgot the second